All right, let's get back to work. Let's explain one of my little note pieces of paper I wrote some songs on. I wrote down, I looked down things I don't know how to spell. And one of them was, I think it was paranoid schizophrenia. Yeah. And I wrote that down on it. I sat there and looked at it. It was paranoid schizophrenia. Okay, let's talk about that, guys. Let's talk about paranoid schizophrenics. Let's try to help people that are called professionals, and they call themselves healthcare professionals, and they think they are healthy and care about people, and we'll have them assess themselves and see if they're a paranoid schizophrenic or not. Okay, now voices in my head. Jesus Christ of Nazareth told me I don't have to go to one of their buildings, be bombarded with radiation, and have my body ripped apart by an industry that tortures and poisons people to death, and then has them go in to survive it, get anecdotes, and then thank the people for doing so. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, dude. Yeah. Something that's fundamentally wrong, and I shouldn't do it. He's like, right. And then DT Suzuki tells me, who Jesus gave me to talk to, survive, stop, eliminate abuse, and then recover. Now, they both informed me that there's ways that the wealthy have to recover from this kind of psychotic and intense abuse that they don't allow just to everybody, because it's only for the elite, only for the people they offer $2 million a month to join the Temple of Set Illuminati. You know what I'm saying, right? So I trust the voices in my head. I don't think I'm a paranoid schizophrenic, right? The way they assess situations, the way they explain it to me. And then when in 2017, first Trump administration, when I challenged all his handlers and military shitheads and pussy, yeah, I'm a rocket scientist, and you're a liar, you're idealist, and you get people killed. We can program people like we're programming a video game. Tell them that we could run them over in the parking lot of Best Buy, and it'll be if we never existed. All those assholes, right? And so when I go to the doctor expecting to be diagnosed with diseases, okay, I have poisoning from stuff I don't put into my body. I have people come interview me to ask me see if I'm paranoid schizophrenic. I very pragmatic and honest with the people in the emergency room. I sit there and tell them about what's happening, what I'm going through. Do you know anybody in the town of the military? Is there anybody in this hospital that can refer me to people? And they did. The military industry dealt with me that way. They sit there and they sent me to La Clinica. Okay. I sat out in the thing. They made me sit there for a week and kept they sat out there for a week and let me analyze and talk to the people in the waiting room. I helped them better than the people that were supposed to help them. I talked to the lady and explained to her thing, what's happening to me very astutely and very calmly and very intelligently. Okay. She sits there and tells me I have acute paranoia and she wants to give me medication. And I sit there and said, no, I had drugs and alcohol and stuff put in my body. Okay, and is there anybody in this town? Can you refer me to anybody in this town, that can help me in the military? Okay. Then finally, some swollen little ex-military guy comes down the hallway because she wants me to help, have him help me with me because she thinks I got mental, emotional problems. I looked at him and I said, no, pit bulls, people pass themselves off as humans, but pit bulls are attacking all the people in this town, and I'll handle it. I'll get off myself. You don't need to help me. And I just walked out of the building. I looked right at him. I said, you can take your little swollen ex-military ass and go fuck yourself. Okay. You're about as much help as Mr. NMSU, ladies man, who was the muscle to come and interview me that, couldn't help with the guy at the soup kitchen that I always had to throw out of the soup kitchen and escort out of the soup kitchen because he was threatening people there at La Clinica next to the police station. I had to handle him too. And then you get all these people, and they film this shit. Okay, this happens everywhere I go. Okay, and they film the shit, and they study the shit. And then you get all these professionals that sit and watch it, go, this guy thinks he's all that. Like Miriam at Pope Air Force Base, technically I kind of am. Okay. I hate to burst your ego bubble, but I know I really don't hate to. I just wish you'd stand up for a Lord's Prayer with me and stop being such a pussy face. And Rockefeller's filming. And Rockefeller tells me that all the time. When I went to go get my teeth repaired, Rockefeller tells me in my head, it's just because you got this health insurance, I'll be happy to rip your teeth out because the government's torturing you, do nothing to help you to stop it. I'm like, yeah, I get that. He goes, you still think you love these people? You still want to protect and save them? Oh, gracious good shepherd, to protect and serve. Been doing it for 10,000 years. Why stop now? Right. That's better than being an Aggie football fan and donor, isn't it, though? Because money's not real, but I am. Right? So you get you get these people, Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. You actually trust people that call themselves professionals that will sit and make propaganda movies about money laundering, that people's lives are held hostage by socio-psychopaths, and then you entertain them as one of the socio-psychopaths that's supposed to keep them safe from socio-psychopaths. Well, I'm sitting here on YouTube going, hey, just stand up for the Lord's Prayer with me. You don't have to tell stupid jokes about Matt Damon and Ben Affleck pretending to be something they're not for money all their whole lives. Oh, fuck, crying out loud. Seriously? And, well, I think Sam and his daughters have the same mental disabilities that the mom and the dad do. That would be a safe assessment if you were a psychologist, right? So I did see the one lady on the news. I did see something that was important to see, was the one lady that went up to hug Patrick Crasus in El Paso. I just wanted to let her know how proud I am of her. Okay. To know that, if this would have happened for him more before the shooting, that the shooting would have never happened. Okay. And I'm proud of you for being a religious and faithful human being, and praying and talking to the Spirit of Jesus and doing, this what you felt you could to help the Spirit of Jesus be evident in people in El Paso. Okay, so I thank you for that, young lady. Thank you very much. Okay, appreciate you. And so, but as far as the rest of you assholes on TV, oh, we got justice, and are you living the Lord's Prayer? Okay, no justice, no peace. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. Why didn't Pope Francis say this before they let him kick the bucket and put a new TV shows about a new Ronald McDonald for the Magic Afterlife Corporation? Hey, Jesus ain't playing. He's pissed, right? He's really mad. Okay. He's not happy. Dad gets those things all the time, we must stand with Israel. You do know that Jesus and David are both from Ruth's line, and that Solomon was, the biological product of Bathsheba from North Africa, which is they're all not considered the Jews. Yeah, the three of the central, and they don't say it, but it's in other Arabic writings and stuff, that Moses, is the product of an Egyptian father with a Canaanite mother. So every time you get a Messiah, they're mudbloods. Just about, there's probably not one in the whole group that's like, oh, they're all mudbloods. They're no purebloods. They're God's chosen people. They choose to think that, but no. Yeah. The righteous are judged by their deed and not by who they have sex with and claim to be, in high favor with God that they invent in their head. Nothing pisses off Jesus more, because like my sister sat there and said that when we got the DNA test back from the government labs and all that, it's just we're mostly German. There's no Jew, and all that stuff. And I'm driving home and Jesus is laughing in my head, and I'm like, "What's so funny?" He goes, "Earl, me and David come from Ruth's line." I go, oh. But wouldn't there be, a guy no, Ruth's line, Earl. Oh, son of a bitch, you're right. That Ruth didn't have other females in the family that didn't marry a Jewish guy. Okay, Charlie Chan, he's funny. I love Jesus. He's just laughing and shaking his head, and I'm like, what? It didn't bother me. I know nothing bothers you. Not to the point where you turn into a psychopath who's on TV saying, well, I want to give you justice by giving you money and having people that will fight and kill over it watch you through technology in your house. Yeah. How about that, Lord now? You guys, any of you paranoid schizophrenics out there that work in an industry that you call healthcare, that repair people's bodies that are being destroyed by corporations, and you don't get up and say anything about it? So how can you feel like you're being a healer? How can you feel like the Hippocratic Oath is properly applied in physics in your life? Should I thank Don Daly on the Daily Show for him helping me out so much? So all us poor people being slaughtered here in the trenches, you can say, "Oh, he's trying to save us with his money, but it's just not quite organic and sexy enough." Right? Carol, do you understand? So, all you healthcare workers out there and all you professionals, you may want to rethink your Grey's Anatomy, or your ER or your pit or whatever you call it. But, hey, Noah Wiley, my wife named our son Noah after you. You might want to show up and help him out by helping the man who he used to call dad, but now he says he's ashamed of. And when he sees himself in the mirror, he hates that. When he sees me in the mirror, isn't that swell? Thinking of the psychologists that are making money off of his abuse are really helping him love like his father. Just you might want to just assess it a little bit, all you people that think you might wonder if you're acutely paranoid or schizophrenic. Okay, guys, I love you. All right, peace.